The crisp autumn air filled my lungs as I stepped off the bus and into a world that felt both familiar and strangely unsettling. After spending the summer in a camp aimed at molding future leaders, I returned home, eager to see my family and eager to leave behind the whispers of forgotten secrets. My parents greeted me with simultaneous relief and caution. "Glad you're back, kid," my dad said, his voice steady but distant, while my mom wrapped me in a hug so tight I could hardly breathe. It felt good as I had missed their warmth, but the tension in my father's eyes reminded me of the missing piece of the puzzle. I could not shake the memory of the accident, a late-night foray into forbidden territory inside the house, one that ended in shattered trust and a terrible reprimand about the implications of my recklessness. I was grounded for the summer, but the camp had felt like an escape, a reprieve from the weight of my mistakes. Nevertheless, my mind still wandered back to the hour I spent lost in the woods during an ill-fated nature hike. As I sat in my room that evening, preparations for another school year whipped through my head. I had this unsettling feeling lingering under the surface, like I had left something behind, something significant. My thoughts drifted to my younger sister, Mia, whose presence in my life had transformed into a prickly reminder of my own failures. She was too young to know yet, but I could see the shadow of worry dance in her eyes every time she looked at me. The next day, after breakfast, an inexplicable urge grabbed hold of me. I felt like I needed to go back to the camp, just to see if any remnants of my summer remained. At first, I brushed it off, a silly thought, but it gnawed at my mind until I finally threw a backpack over my shoulder and made my way to the bus stop. The nostalgia hit me as soon as I stepped off into Sleepy Falls. The camp loomed across the horizon and the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting elongated shadows that seemed to whisper my secrets. A sense of dread crept in as I walked along the familiar trail, the trees around me standing like ancient sentinels, but the butterflies in my stomach propelled me forward. I arrived at the camp to find it closed. Closed for the season signaled a rusted metal plaque hanging limply from a crooked post, but I couldn't just turn around. I moved towards the edge of the forest, the place where I had gotten lost, guided by the fleeting fragments of adrenaline that surfaced in those later hours at camp. I walked for what felt like an eternity, wandering past twisted roots and around gnarled branches. That familiar voice crept into my mind, a soft echo I thought I recognized. "Max, please," it called, tempting me deeper into the woods. My heart began to race as I pushed aside leaves and branches, following the beckoning sound. Was it my imagination or was it real? I was then struck by the ghostly sensation of being watched. The forest felt hollow, empty. I stepped over a fallen log and pressed further into the haunting stillness when I stumbled upon an old cabin, its structure collapsing under the weight of time. It was then that I saw her. She sat alone on the steps, staring vacantly into the trees. "What are you doing here?" I called, scrambling forward. She turned slowly, her eyes devoid of the spark I love to see. "You shouldn't have come back," she whispered. A chill danced down my spine as I approached, but all I could focus on was the odd expression on her face, one of confusion and dread. "Where's Mom? Where's Dad?" My panic grew as I reached her. "You shouldn't have come back here." Confusion swept over me. The uneasiness in her words gripped the air, thickening it, making it hard to breathe. Suddenly, she gasped, her eyes darting past me. I spun around, a scream lodged in my throat. There, behind the trees, stood the silhouette of a figure, dark and unyielding. An ear-piercing shriek echoed just beyond where I stood, yet all I heard was silence. "What have you done?" Mia's voice trembled, her tears spilling across her cheeks. The shadow grew closer, and I took a step back, yet it drew nearer, its chilling presence so familiar. It was like I had known it all along. The appalling realization hit me like ice water cascading down my spine. "You're not real, are you? You're just..." My words faltered, caught in a stranglehold of fear. With each step, the past rushed back to me, the fateful night, the accident that set the course for this tragedy. The figure loomed large before me, and I stood paralyzed in horror. Summoning every ounce of strength, I dashed past Mia. I could hear her sobbing behind me as I raced through the underbrush, the chaotic thumping of my heart drowning out all other sounds. I burst through the trees and back onto the path, my world collapsing around me as I sprinted to the bus stop, desperate to leave this nightmare behind. As the bus pulled away, I glanced back one last time. A lingering dread settled heavy in my stomach. Mia's face was obscured, half hidden by the shadows of the trees, but I could still see her expression. She was not worried. She was afraid. I could not protect her. I was the one she had to fear. It was weeks later when I learned the chilling truth, what had been hidden from me all along. My parents had uncovered the horrifying reality behind the camp's closure, the secrets hidden deep within the trees and under the ground. The whispers that filled those woods had long been silenced, but their echoes remained, haunting all who wandered too close to Camp Sorrowdale. More sinister were the tales of the guardian of lost souls, a reminder that some things are better left undisturbed and some roads, well tread, should never be revisited. My heart sank, for it wasn't just the loss of my sister I feared. It was the realization that I had unwittingly become part of a story that had begun long before my time, a story that would never truly end. The next autumn, a new sign was erected in Sleepy Falls. It told of brave adventurers who had come before and the dangers that lurk within, a word of caution destined to echo through the ages, a phrase stitched into a haunted memory more than just a name. "Beware the woods, for they remember," whispered the winds that haunted the campsite long after we had said our goodbyes.